So today we are going to be changing fuel injectors on a 2014 Dodge Charger. This is a 3.6 Pentastar, and I'm having a misfire for cylinder number 5, and I believe it's one of the 3 things, which I already changed one of them: spark plugs, ignition coils, or the fuel injectors. And we're going to be changing these out because I already changed the spark plugs and it's still giving me the misfire. So we're going to hope that it's in fuel injectors, and if it's not, then I already ordered a set of ignition coils from Mopar. They're Mopar ignition coils. These are also Mopar fuel injectors, and we're going to be throwing these in as well as changing out the ignition coils, but we're not going to be doing that because we're still waiting for them to arrive. So for now, we're just changing out the fuel injectors, and hopefully that fixes that misfire. But other than that, let's go ahead and get started. Real quickly, I'm going to move the car just a bit more forward. That way I can show you what we're working with. Pop the hood. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop this hood. Nice. So let me grab my fuel injectors. The changing them out is really not that hard, it's very simple. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to release all the pressure from the fuel system. So I'm going to show you how to do that. What you want to do is you want to come to the passenger side, and as you can see right here is the fuse box. Go ahead and pop that off. Wow, look at all that dust in there. You want to make sure all that dust is out. You don't want no dust in your fuse box. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be removing the fuse for the fuel injectors or the fuel pump. And we can look for it in here, actually. It's not that hard. So for the fuel pump fuse, we're looking at, kind of hard to see. Let's see. Fuel pump fuse. A little dirty, so it's going to be hard to tell what it is. Relays. So we're going to start by removing the relay. And the relay for the fuel pump would be... Oh wow, I can't see anything out of this. It's all dirty. Okay. So that would be right. Oh wow, check this out. I don't know if you can see, but the fuel pump fuse is right here. This one right there. Let me show you how bad it looks. Put that fuse out. It's so melted. Oh wow, we gotta replace that fuse. That fuse is really bad, so we're gonna have to change that fuse out before it causes us problems. So we're gonna change that. But that's the fuse we're gonna remove in order to release fuel pressure. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this fuse out with some pliers. I'm gonna try my best not to break it, even though we're gonna replace it. Check that out. Wow, look at that. Dang, we gotta replace this fuse for sure. It's so melted. We're gonna change it out anyways. So now that we got that done, we can go ahead, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna crank the car for like 5-10 seconds. It's just gonna continue cranking, and all the fuel should be released. So I'm gonna go ahead and crank the car. So I got my keys. We're gonna crank the car. Alright, so the car just died, and now we're going to continue cranking it until all the fuel pressure is released. So apparently removing the fuel pump fuse just kills it, so we're going to have to take out the fuel pump relay. I don't know which one it would be actually, hold on. Okay, so the fuel pump relay is right here. This one right here, take it off. Now let's crank the car and see if we can remove all the fuel pressure. pressure has been released. Now we can get started on removing the intake manifold. So we're gonna start by removing this engine cover right here. It just pops off like that. There we go. Set this aside. And now we're gonna remove this air intake hose. Alright, so there's gonna be two hose clamps, one right here and the other one back there. And we're gonna be using an 8mm to remove them. To speed things up, just loosen them up. There we go. Now this intake can come off, and there's gonna be a connector right here. All you gotta do is unplug it, just like that. Set this aside. Now we have access to the throttle body and the upper intake manifold. And taking this off is actually not too bad. I'm gonna show you how to remove it. Alright, so to remove first we're gonna be removing a bunch of vacuum hoses, starting off with this one right here. It just disconnects like that. And then we're gonna remove this one right here, which you can just pull off. Wow, this intake is very loose. There we go. Pulls off like that. And then this one, which also just pulls off. This intake is very loose. That's very concerning. That could be why it might be getting a misfire too. But now we are going to remove the throttle body connections, starting off with this one. Unplug it. Then the one over here for the, I believe that's the mass airflow sensor or something. And then that hole just comes off like that. Remove this out the way so we don't get it caught up in anything. It's very simple like that. Now usually there'd be a bracket which bolts on right here, but in this case someone's already worked on this car before and they did not reinstall that bracket. So there'd usually be a bracket held on by two 10mm, one right here, one back there. Take those nuts off, the bracket comes off. And then the same thing for the other side. Hold on, I don't even know if y'all saw that. So that stud right there and the stud way back there are two 10s. It's usually held on with two 10s. It's a bracket. Take those two 10 nuts out and the bracket comes off. Alright, so on this side there's supposed to be two 10s holding on for these brackets, but again, whoever worked on this car did not reinstall everything properly. I'm missing two 10s back here, and this intake manifold is very loose. So I guess we're just going to remove the intake manifold bolts. So I believe they're all 8mm. There's going to be one right here, right there, one right here, and then there's going to be ones that you're going to need a deep socket with. So we're going to remove the ones that require the deep socket. Okay, switch out for the 10 because it looks like these are 10s, and they indeed are. So we're going to swap the 10. Take it off. And I believe the whole intake manifold, upper intake manifold, can just come off now. There we go. Alright, so we got that off. Wow, look at this. Someone put silicone around the gaskets. What kind of maniac would do that? So someone put silicone around this gasket here. It's just supposed to be a gasket for the intake manifold, but someone put silicone around it. Dang. But anyways, now we're going to remove the fuel rails to make things easier. And to take those off, they're just held on by 2/8, but we're going to disconnect the spark plug wires. it's just a little tab right here. You push and pull. Same thing for the what's it called? Fuel injector wires. It's just a tab that you push and pull. I gotta get this in there in order to push it so I can pull it. There we go. It'd be easier if I had some wire pliers or something like that. There we go. And now you can just take it off from it's held on by these little clips. Do the same thing on the other side real quick. Just gotta pull the and try not to pull from the wire directly. Pull it from the connector. Do not pull it from the wire. Otherwise you're gonna break the wire. One more. This one doesn't look like it's gonna come off. Doesn't look like it's even in good condition either. Dang it. That one's gonna be a pain to remove. But whoever did this, whoever worked on this car before, broke this connector, so now I can't even get it off because the little connector tabs, the little tab you push, like right here, this tab you push, does not exist on this one anymore. So I don't even know how I'm gonna get this one off. Dang. This one's gonna be quite tricky. Alright, I'm gonna try to get that one off with something else because that one's gonna be a pain. So that connector is not gonna come off. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just remove the 4 8mm that are holding on to the fuel rail. Okay, fuel rail should be loose now. Oh wait, those are not even holding on to the fuel rail. Those were holding on to the lower intake manifold. So to get the fuel rail off, you actually need a Torx bit. I believe it's a T25. Yep, it's a T25. So these screws right here, T25s, unscrew them with a Torx bit. Next one. Third one. Here we go, one more to remove. Perfect. And we can just unscrew them. And now you can see fuel rail is pretty loose now. I'm gonna set the screws up here so I don't get them confused with other screws. And I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up this 8mm I loosened up. Okay, so fuel rails can come off now. There's one, there's the second one. Now we'll just flip this over, and one by one we're gonna remove fuel injectors and replace them with new ones. It's very simple actually. All you do is pull them off. You might need some pliers or something, but they come off very simple. As you can see, those three are now off. We'll remove the other side. It's a little tricky, so we're gonna use the pliers. Just kind of wiggle them. tap and forth. Be careful not to break any plastic pieces. There we go. Now the one we couldn't get off with the connector, we're gonna try to remove that one separately. So let me, okay, so that one, we're gonna use some pliers and we're gonna try to take it off like normal. We're definitely gonna need pliers. Fuel injectors can be pretty tricky to take off. So you're gonna need to use pliers, screwdrivers, or whatever you can use. I'll just unplug the whole fuel rail like that to get more space. This one's tricky. I'm pretty sure it's not even gonna come off at all. I have to remove it. There we go. Now we're gonna try to remove it from the plug because we could not do that earlier. I don't know why it wasn't coming off. So we're gonna try to loosen it up from the plug. I'm gonna use a screwdriver here to take off the red part of the connector. Okay, we got that off. Now we should be able to just unplug it. There we go. Finally. Alright, so we got that out of the way. Now we can go ahead and start putting in brand new injectors. Alright, so we got the fuel injectors out. Go ahead and get the new ones in. It's very simple. It's just the reverse of what you just did. Now we took the whole fuel rail out right here, and this side is where the hose connects for the fuel line, and the fuel rail sits like this. So let's say you're going to install a fuel injector. If you're going to be installing it on the passenger side, you want to make sure that the plug goes to the left. So it'd be something like this. So let's start with this one. You want to make sure the fuel injector clicks in, just like that. We're going to do the other two. Again, make sure they're pointing towards the left, so that way you can connect them when you're done. There we go. And it's gonna sit like this. Now you can see the connectors are pointing to the left. Now you're gonna do the same thing for this side, but instead of the left, they're gonna be pointing to the right. So it's gonna look something like this. Once again, make sure they click in. So it's a little difficult, but you get the point. They're going to be pointing to the right now. All right, so we got the other injectors in. Now these are pointing to the right, and these are pointing to the left. So now we can go ahead and push them in back to their original holes, or the original way it's supposed to go. I'm going to make sure that, put the camera zoom. Now right here, you want to make sure that the rail goes all the way in. Otherwise, you're going to get leaks. Make sure it clicks in, just like that. Same thing on the other side. So, on the other side, right here, the orange O-ring, make sure it goes all the way in. Once you got that done, you can go ahead and screw it in. Screw the fuel rail back in and reconnect the fuel line. And we'll go ahead and tighten it up. Because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be checking for leaks before we go installing everything back together. make sure that the screws are tight. You don't want them loose. And you also don't want to over tighten them. Just like that. Alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall the fuel pump relay. And the fuse. But remember, we're gonna replace the fuse because that one was burnt out. Okay, fuse has been replaced. Now what we're gonna do is put the car in the run position and check to see if there's gonna leak anywhere. So I'm gonna zoom in like that. And y'all will see if it leaks or not. It appears I forgot to reconnect the fuel line, which is right here. This one. Right there. There we go. Alright. So just from looking from the driver's side, I didn't see any leaks. Other than the fact that I forgot to reconnect the little fuel line. But other than that, I don't see any leaks. So now we can go ahead and start putting everything back together. We'll start by reconnecting everything. Start by reconnecting the fuel injectors. And the ignition coils. Clips that hold in the wire onto the other side. Fuel injectors. For the clip. Okay, everything's connected. Now what we're gonna do is one more time, check for leaks. Beautiful, no leaks. Now we can go ahead and reinstall the intake manifold. Get this right here. Position it to where the holes go in your designated area. We're going to start with the little small 8mm. They're not screwing in, so I'm going to have to like re-thread them or something because they're not screwing in. They're just spinning. Just spinning. And whoever did this job last time did not do a good job. Oh, it's tight, but they're not tightly properly tightened, but as long as it's tight. Now usually when you remove the intake manifold, you'd be replacing the gaskets, but I had someone recently do all that, which obviously they didn't do a good job and did not tighten up the intake manifold because now it doesn't even tight. So now we're going to go ahead and reconnect all the vacuum hoses, throttle body connecting, and the little intake hose, and we'll be good to go. Starting off with this one. then vacuum hose for the intake. And then this one. And then way back here. Just like that. Now the connectors. Okay, throttle body's connected, and all right, so everything on the intake is back installed. Now we just gotta get the hose back on. Hose is back in. There was just 2 hose clamps over there and right here. Just tighten those up, 8 millimeters. The last thing to do, reinstall the cover. Just like that. And we are done. Got all the fuel injectors right here. Got a few O-rings that were stuck onto the fuel rails, but here they are. They're replaced. Now let's start the car up and see if it runs any differently. So far, it's running pretty smooth. No misfiring or nothing. It did run a little rough at the beginning, but that's because you didn't prime it, and you'd have to prime it whenever you start the car. But so far, it's running pretty smooth. No more misfiring. And when you replace any type of fuel thingy, what you want to do is you want to prime the car, which means you put it to the run position, shut it off, run position, shut it off, and then one more time, run position, shut it off. And what that will do is deliver fuel into the fuel system, build up pressure, and the car will start like normal. But just like that, fuel injectors are replaced, and that is how you replace the fuel injectors on a 2014 Dodge Charger. This is the 3.6 Pentastar V6. And yeah, like the video, share, subscribe, all of that, and I'll see you all guys in the next one.